So I designed this simple shirt on PowerPoint. It just says, yeah, because that was the only software that I know how to operate. So that's it. I printed 10 copies of that and 10 pre-order sheets. And then I went to the 10 classrooms on my floor because we were 370 in the batch. And then each classroom, I really pitched, hey guys, I'm doing a t-shirt souvenir, it's our last year. I did a pre-order thing. It's a pre-order thing, right? But the funny thing was, I did not expect that I was going to get 250 shirts, and we were running out of time already because I think I had like less than a week to finish 250 pieces. So I still remember this, like, imagine it was a mini manufacturing firm in our small home. It's my mom, it's my dad, it's my 6-year-old brother, my 4-year-old sister. It was like a small factory in our house. But that taught me a lot, like that was really my first venture in business at 17.
Hello everyone, my name is Din Long and welcome to the podcast Lifeline. In this podcast, I will interview people who are having a positive impact in their community and have a strong message that deserves to be shared. We will dive deeper into their journey becoming a change maker, and hopefully you can take away some insights for your own journey. And please do subscribe to Lifeline on YouTube, Apple Podcast, or any platform that you are using. And also you can share this episode with your friends if you like it. It's really what helps me the most. In today's episode, you will meet Pamela Mejia, who is a fashion social entrepreneur from the Philippines. She founded PHINIX to turn textile waste into higher value products and also fibers to train other fashion social entrepreneurs. She shares with us her crazy adventure launching and growing her first fashion business at 17 years old when in high school, and then all her learnings from her second and third fashion businesses at 19 and 21 that helped launch PHINIX with solid grounds. We discuss her journey getting into fashion and then sustainable fashion, her reflections about the early years of PHINIX, and the big dreams that she's working towards to completely reinvent the fashion industry and to inspire the next generations of fashion social entrepreneurs. It's a super energetic and fun episode which is full of learnings, so enjoy and see you next time. Hello Pamela.
Hello everybody.
Okay, so I'm so happy finally to have you. I usually start by reminding how I know you, but I want to start by reminding and just sharing with everyone how difficult it was to start this recording. We've been planning for 2-3 weeks. I mean, this is normal, but I think, we had to reschedule a couple of times, and we've been now together for, I think, 35 minutes, just trying to connect to Wi-Fi. Trying not to be kicked out of Zoom. Trying to get the sound correct. But now it's okay. After 35 minutes of fun, we can finally start. And so how do I know you? Actually, the first time I met you was in a nightclub in Bangkok. Well, I mean, we've met a bit before the nightclub, but it was in Bangkok for this Youth Collab conference about business integrity.
Yes.
But to be honest, I mean, you are a superstar in the Youth Collab world. So, I heard about you obviously before.
Wow.
I think I watched your videos so many times. I mean, that was one of the few videos on the Youth Collab website, right? So I was trying to get to understand what Youth Collab was doing. So I was like watching all the videos 10 times. And then I met you in real life in Bangkok. Then we were in this room, in this nightclub with reggaeton, which was quite cool.
Yes.
And ever since, I mean, that Bangkok was 2 years ago now, and ever since we've crossed paths online so many times, in so many events. And actually I got the chance to hear your story many, many times in different a lot of, different different timings, different virtual countries, etc. Anyway, yeah. And so
I
yeah,
know.
so yeah, and now so it really made me intrigued to know the rest of the story. Like I told you, when you hear people in panel, you always wonder, okay, who is this person actually?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I heard you in the panel 6 or 7 times. So yeah, I have so many questions for you. I had so much time to prepare. So
yeah.
So anyway, welcome Pamela. For the audience information, you have some mangosteen wine and Toblerone chocolate.
Yes.
And yeah, just to kickstart, I'll invite you if you want to introduce yourself, who you are, what you're currently doing these days, where you're calling from. Anything you want to share to start.
Okay, sure. Again, hi everybody. I'm so honored to be in this super famous podcast. Wow. I'm really, really happy to be here. So thank you for inviting me. I am Pamela Mejia. People call me Pamela or Pam. I was born and raised in Manila, Philippines. I'm currently, should I say my age? Fine, I'll just say it. I'm 31 years old. And I would say I would identify myself as a fashion social entrepreneur. Right now I just came back from London. I just finished my master's in fashion entrepreneurship and innovation. And now I'm happy to be back here in Manila, Philippines to continue innovating new products for my fashion social enterprise, which is PHINIX, wherein what we do is we collect textile waste, such as old clothes and fabric scraps, and we transform them into higher value products, such as shoes, bags, but now we're leaning towards homeware. And well, career-wise, that's me. And I'm pretty sure you'll get to know me more as we progress in this podcast. So yeah, what should I say?
No, that was good. That was good.
Okay.
No, so PHINIX, I think. Now everyone understands how amazing it was. And yeah, just for the story, I forgot to mention, but I also wrote about PHINIX in one article. And when I went to Timor-Leste, I had so many one-pagers of PHINIX to show to the young people.
Yeah, I know.
We're always carrying PHINIX around. No, thanks for the intro. 31 is still very young. No worries, Pam.
Hopefully.
And we'll have a lot of time to speak about fashion, about PHINIX, and also I want to hear everything about all your fashion businesses. But I want to start before. The earliest I could stalk you was until, not until, but since you were 17. I couldn't find anything before you were 17. So let's start from that. I wonder, where did you grow up? And what were your dreams when you were before 17? Did you always see yourself in the fashion industry, or did you see yourself doing something else?
I think, looking back, I had this point when I was in my 20s when I really had a deep reflection on how my childhood and life was that actually led me to this decision in becoming a fashion entrepreneur. And looking back now, growing up, so I am the first grandchild of both sides. So maternal and paternal, I'm really the first baby of the of both families. My parents had me when they were both 21. They were both very young. So yeah, so typically I grew up I had grandmothers who really spoiled me, and then they spoiled me in a way of with dresses and with clothes. I guess I would have to say I grew up seeing my grandmother, like my paternal grandmother, like sewing dresses for me. And she would always pick the best shoes for me as well. And I feel like looking back now, I feel like I really got my sense of my love for fashion from my grandmother, from my paternal grandmother. But then we are family of nurses and doctors. Literally, the siblings of my father, they're all nurses. And then the sibling, my mom herself is a nurse. So I grew up, I was being conditioned that, when you do grow up, you will eventually become a nurse, or if you choose to do so, you'll become a doctor. So like growing up, I had that condition in my head. But I know growing up, what I really love to do is to actually sketch, like, whenever I watch, like, let's say anime or cartoons or any, when you become a teenager, when I was watching reality shows such as I don't know if people are familiar with this show, but like Laguna Beach. So it says a lot with my generation and my age. But like, so when I keep on watching all these shows, I would always sketch the outfits of the characters that I really like. So I had that habit in me, like, while watching, like, imagine watching a reality show and you have a sketchbook beside you. That's me. But then, like, on my senior year of high school, so okay, there's actually this turning point in my life that I feel like I really need to mention, that became like the turning point and the actual motivation of, how I live my life today. So when I was actually in sixth grade, my father had like a financial crisis with his business that eventually also affected our family. And because of that, like, there was just a 180-degree change in our lifestyle, that the things that we used to afford before, like things that I didn't even think about that were within my reach, I wasn't able to afford anymore. And I was studying in a really good and expensive school then. And I was told, like, so here in the Philippines, like, if you can't pay for your tuition fee, like your school fee, you always have to write a letter on why you weren't able to pay. Because if you can't pay, you can't take your exams. So that's like a thing here in the Philippines. I don't know with other countries. And that's actually the way I found out that our family had a financial crisis, when I was called at the principal's office and I was told that I won't be allowed to take my exams if my father won't be able to pay the balance of my school fee. And this kept happening from when I was 11 until my final year, which was when I was 17. So like this whole financial crisis that happened in our family really changed me, because like I said, I was the first kid, and then I became the eldest in with of three kids now. So it's like I was the only one receiving what was happening with my parents and their financial crisis, versus like of my siblings who were 1 year old and 3 years old that time. And so I have to say, like, our financial crisis was really one of the hardest things I've ever experienced in my whole life. Like, but like, if you would change time, I wouldn't really like change it, because that's really what led me to becoming the entrepreneur that I am today. And so on my senior year of high school, because of that financial crisis, so here in the Philippines, we have this thing. If you are a girl and you turn 18, you have like a debut party. Like in France, right? They have that thing too, right? Like le ball, like when you turn 18, or like it's like your coming out thing. But for you to have that party, you need the money, right? And Back then, I really, really wanted to have that coming out party, like, finally 18 of legal age and stuff like that. So, but my parents can't afford it. So at the age of 17, I took it, to myself and told myself, you know what? I'm just going to earn the money to actually pay for my own 18th birthday party, because it's a big deal. Like here in the Philippines, your 18th debut party is a big deal. And so I opened my first ever fashion business, which was a t-shirt printing business. Because I was looking back like, okay, what skills do I have? I really love fashion. I love to sketch. And I'm very skillful. I have skills with, I have knowledge in doing, silk screen printing. If you guys are familiar with that, like silk screen printing, me and my dad, we know how to print on shirts. And so my first ever business was called Almost Famous. The name of the brand was Almost Famous by Pamela Mejia. And yeah, my first collection, I sold like I think it was 250 pieces of shirts that I designed for,
Wow.
yeah. How much did I sell? 300 pesos is, it's about like, it's about £5, or in dollars, it would be about around $6. Yeah. So I think I'd stop there first, but like that's how I really started. Like, if you ask me why I became an entrepreneur, it's because of our financial crisis, but really the underlying motivation was just to have my 18th birthday party. Yeah. And you know what? Long story short, I sold 300 pieces for 250 pieces for $6, and I had my 18th birthday party. So that was it. That really motivated me. I was like, I am an entrepreneur. There.
Did you? That's interesting. Like, so, like, when you started, I like the maturity at 17 to ask yourself, okay, what are my skills?
Yeah.
What do I know to do? I will do that. I mean, I didn't have this maturity at 17 to think about this. No, really.
Yeah.
For me, I find it impressive to do that at 17. And now I'm wondering, like, so what was like, so you needed to buy, I guess, some white t-shirts and print stuff on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what was the process, and like how did you manage to sell so many t-shirts also? Like,
Yeah.
how did you do that?
Actually, this is a really nice question, because now as you were asking it, it's so nice to look back, because, this was like what, 13 years ago, but the process is still fresh in my mind, like how I made it all happen. So, what I did was I actually took advantage. So we were, on our senior year, we were gonna have like our entire school. We were gonna have like our annual sports festival, and I was the captain of the cheering squad, and I was also the I was the president of the center for dance of the whole school. So I was like, I took that advantage, like, you're popular. I'm kidding. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna take advantage of my network. And then during the sports festival, because I was the cheerleading captain, and I was in my senior year, right? I thought to myself, I was like, what if I actually sell like a shirt, like a souvenir shirt for the senior students like me, but is still in line with the sports festival. And this is something they can actually wear during the cheer dancing competition. Knowing it's like, if you wear this shirt, people are going to know that you're actually rooting for the seniors, like us, the fourth year students. So I designed this simple shirt on PowerPoint. It just says, yeah, because that was the only software that I know how to operate, So the design, so the theme of the sports festival then was, it's like a racetrack, it's like a Grand Prix. So, and the seniors, we were like the Ferrari team. So, I was like, and then so this was back in 2007. And in 2007, statement shirts were such a big deal here in Manila. Like for example, let's just say I love school, like those things, or like I love chemical romance or chemical romance fans for life, things like that. So I took advantage of that trend as well. So I did the design on PowerPoint that says, "Race to the limit, senior spirit." So that's it. That was the only statement. It was in like alternating black and red ink. Like Race to the Limit was in red, Senior Spirit was in black, like that. And then so I designed it on PowerPoint. I printed it. I printed 10 copies of that and 10 pre-order sheets. And then I went to the 10 classrooms on my floor because we were 370 in the batch. And then each classroom, I really pitched, hey guys, I am doing a t-shirt souvenir. It's our last year. It's our last sports festival. If you wear this shirt on the cheerleading competition day, it's gonna be a big support for us. Blah blah blah. But really, like deep inside, you're really supporting my business. And so I did a pre-order thing. It's a pre-order thing, right? And then if they eventually when you pre-order, you have to pay me in full already. And good thing, like I told you a while ago, because I was the captain of the cheering squad and I was the center, or like the president of Center for Dance. People trusted me. So they did pay full before I even gave them the products. So with all the money that I had, I went out and bought all these shirts with all the sizes. And you know what I did? Like I told you a while ago, my dad and I were the ones who have the knowledge on how to do silk screen printing, So my dad and I were the ones who actually produced the shirts. But the funny thing was, I did not expect that I was gonna get 250 orders. Like I was just expecting okay, 100. That's fine with me. 250 shirts, and we were running out of time already because I think I had less than a week to finish 250 pieces. And it's just me and my dad, right? So I still remember this. Imagine I asked my 6-year-old brother and my 4-year-old sister to help. No, my mom. So it was a mini manufacturing firm in our small home. It's my mom, it's my dad, it's my 6-year-old brother, my 4-year-old sister. Imagine them giving out the fabric paint to my dad. My other brother is hanging my brother is hanging the shirts. My mom is the one laying out the shirts. It was like a small factory in our house. But that taught me a lot, that was really my first venture in business at 17. So I can still remember everything, it was 13 years ago, but yeah, that whole process, it was really, really tough. And actually, my parents were scolding me the whole time it was happening. My mom was saying, never ever let us do this again, 250 shirts. Where do you hang that in your home? And I remember my 4-year-old sister, she was saying, ate is older sister in Filipino. She's like, ate, I want to go to sleep. Like a 4-year-old. It's like child labor, Yeah. So yeah, that was the process of it.
Did you tell yourself oh my God, I cannot, I won't be able to make it happen. 1 week is too short. Or, oh my God, what if people don't like my t-shirt?
Yes.
My reputation is over. I need to refund everyone.
Definitely. I sure did experience one of my biggest mistakes as well because we were rushing. Things don't happen, as perfect as you would like it to be, especially in manufacturing something for the first time. A lot of the prints actually were bleeding, and then when you thought already that the shirt was already dry, so you start folding everything and you start to deliver them, right? And then on the day of the delivery, when people wanted to wear the shirt, there was like the red ink actually, it went to another shirt. There were a lot of things that did
Oh my
not
God.
go well. Yes, it was sometimes, when I look back, I still cringe at those mistakes. Like, it took me a while to recover from it because it's like, people paid like $6 back in that day. It's a big deal for a student to pay for $6 for a shirt, and they will be like, why is it not nice? Like some of the
Mm.
shirts did not turn out well. So
Did you get
yeah,
any complaints
I
from
did.
the
I did.
customers?
Yes, yes, yes. And a lot, I mean, they were my friends. And again, like you said, that's my reputation, because um I had, like they trusted me to deliver a really good product for them, but not all the shirts were nice, honestly. Yeah.
No, but I there's a lot of of good entrepreneurship lessons out of it. I mean, like, you said, like, what are my skills? What do I like to do? But also, what are the resources I have, right? Which in your
Mhm.
case, what was your network at 17, and I don't know, like, the fact that people trusted you. I mean, for me, it's interesting that you are aware and conscious of that at 17. I mean, and yeah, it worked out eventually. I mean, did
Mhm.
you continue with this almost famous
Yes, I
after?
actually did. I did. I continued it in college. So in university, I continued this business and I actually scaled it. So like when I went to university, I just accepted like made to order shirts. Like um, back then, a lot of international music artists were going to the Philippines. So like, for example, I remember like Chris Brown and Rihanna had a concert here, and so like I designed like a Rihanna statement shirt and a Chris Brown statement shirt, and I sold that as well. When Chemical Romance went here, I designed a collection, and then some people just wanted to have customized shirts. Like I remember I had one customer who wanted to like a proposal, like "Will you marry me?" shirt. So I do things like that, or like let's say there was this one guy who just really wanted to impress his girlfriend. So like "I love you, Carla" shirt, things like that. But then when I went to university, I started thinking of more ways to expand Almost Famous. And then I realized, so when I entered university, by the way, my first course was biology. So see, because I thought I was going to be a doctor. So I took a pre-med course, which is biology. And then in university here in the Philippines, again, this was back in 2008, statement shirts were a thing. So it's like it was normal to wear something that people will read that will say something about you. So back then, the statement shirt, the trend was to wear a statement shirt that says something about your course. So, for example, what I did was in our block, I suggested to our president, what if the way to identify our class, like our batch, is like an "I love biology" shirt, you know? And then the whole class agreed. So I created like this purple shirt that says "I love biology." And then other courses started seeing that shirt. And so other courses started contacting me like, hey, can you make us? I love psychology. I love chemistry. And I was like, oh, yes, more orders, more courses, more orders, more money, And then I started making it like a university thing. I decided to sell like I love so I studied in University of the Philippines. So like I made I love University of the Philippines in different designs. And yeah, so I think that continued for 2 more years until I was 19. Yeah. So from 17 years old to 19, I was just doing Almost Famous in
How
college.
did how did you notice the trends? Is it just by looking around you?
Yes, it's like a so back then. I don't know if people will actually recognize this, but before Friendster even existed, people had Multiply in the Philippines, so it's called multiply.com. So that was our Facebook, and then in the timeline of multiply.com, this whole statement shirt was already a thing. And if people are not aware, like basketball in the Philippines is like it's the number one game here. And so like collegiate basketball, people would like to wear like I love University of the Philippines, I love Ateneo de Manila University, I love De La Salle University. So the statement shirts were really a thing, and I just like put a twist on it with like the I love biology, I love psychology thing. Yeah. I just hopped
You,
on the trend really.
yeah. I mean, that's how it works. I mean, that's how you make it, yeah, like viral and like more
Yes,
people want to
exactly.
buy it.
Yes, and there's no social like Multiply then was the social media. You didn't have Instagram, Facebook. I didn't have Facebook until 2010. So
Hmm.
yeah, I was doing this all on Multiply.
And you were still producing in your house with the help of your
Yes.
family.
Yes, but then when the courses shirt, like the course shirt, the program shirt happened, the I love biology thing happened, I actually found like a very small community of I didn't even know this before, like the whole concept of social entrepreneurship thing, but like I found a small community of like old, not really old men, like middle-aged men who knew how to do silk screen printing. And so I started outsourcing it to them because they're very, very, very professional. So when it was the big orders, like, shirts with 40 to 80 pieces, I'd outsource this to them. But if it's very personalized, I do it myself because it's actually more expensive to do something personalized versus if you do something like wholesale with the same design. So yeah, that's how I did it then.
And still designing on PowerPoint.
Yes. No, seriously, I was doing everything on PowerPoint. Yeah, that's how I did it. I survived okay.
Nice. I, I, well, I have a lot of questions about your next fashion business, but I want to come back on your university days.
Mhm.
Like until when did you study? I mean, how long did you study pre-med?
Okay, so here's the thing. My friends they used to call me like the legendary person who studied too long. It's because so just to share, I studied in University of the Philippines. It's like the best university in my country, but it's known to have like it's really really hard to get in our university, but it's even harder to get out of it. Like there's a course, like there's a curse. But the funny thing that happened to me was, so when you graduate from the University of the Philippines, or like when you study, you're actually called a scholar ng bayan. In Filipino, you call it Scholar ng Bayan. In English, it translates to Scholar of the Country. Because it's a state university, and so like I call myself an ultimate scholar of the country because I actually attended. I went to the three campuses of University of the Philippines. So, like what I shared a while ago, I first studied BS Biology at the University of the Philippines, Los Baños campus. So that's where I first studied. And then I decided, like, okay, maybe I don't really want to be a doctor. So maybe I just take another medical profession, but not nurse, because I really don't want to be a nurse, just like the rest of my family. No offense to all the great nurses out there. It's just I just don't want to be in the same profession as everybody else in my family. And because I'm a very competitive person, I told myself, okay, what other medical profession that is not a nurse or that's not a doctor but pays you really, really well? And then I discovered that there's this course called speech pathology, and what in speech pathology, when you finally graduate and become a speech therapist, your patients are kids with autism, kids with speech deficiencies, even adults with brain damage who already forgot how to speak and communicate. So those are your patients. And it the salary of a speech therapist is like three times higher than a nurse in the US or in the UK. And even in the Philippines, it pays really good. So I was like, okay, this is the program for me. But the problem was, if you apply for that program, it's a very, very, very competitive course. So, but I did try, I tried my luck after biology. I decided to apply for speech pathology in another campus, but still in the same university. So, it's called, this time it's University of the Philippines, Manila campus. Um, because the Manila campus is like the medical campus where all the medical courses are in. And thankfully, I still remember that day there were like 170 people who applied for that course. And I still remember on that day there were like 150 people that were going to be interviewed on that day itself, but only 11 people will be taken. So imagine, like, 170 people applied, 150 people got shortlisted for the interview, but only 11 people will be taken. And I don't know, for some reason they accepted me. I was one of the 11 people who got accepted. And it's funny because I still remember this on my interview. They were telling me, like, um, they were asking me what was I busy with. And I told them about my fashion business. And I still remember that time one of the panelists, which was one of the professors of the of our college, he asked me, if you decide to study in this program, it's a difficult program. As you could see, it's very difficult and competitive. Are you willing to stop your fashion business? The shirt business, Almost Famous, he was saying, are you willing to stop Almost Famous just to get in this program? And of course, I said yes, even if I didn't mean it. So, so eventually I started with speech pathology. But then this is where things started happening. Like, um, when it was already my time here in speech pathology, this was, I would say, one of the biggest turning points of my life. Because so when I finally got in the program and I started studying, and so I even went into internship already, um, I actually failed one of my big subjects. And then what happened was the professor, who happens to be our dean, she asked me to have like a one-on-one consultation with her. And then she asked me, like, and this was one of the biggest turning points of my life, because I thought she was gonna talk to me to retake the test so she can give me another chance. And I really thought that was what the conversation was about. But the conversation went like this. She was telling me, first she told me, was like, is this what you really, really want? Like, I can see that you're really not that passionate about this course. And so I told her, like, what made you say that other than the fact that I failed your subject? And she was like, she told me that she would always see me sketching gowns, like if you check my exam papers and my test papers, if you check the back of it, the black, like in test papers there are like black pages. I would always have sketches of gowns, of shoes and bags. And I forgot to mention, on my second year, I think, I actually opened a clothing business. Okay, an online clothing business which was called Secret Paris. And it was very, very, very successful, to the point that I was I was more into that than studying, which actually made me fail one of my big subjects. But so she keeps on saying, like, you're very successful with your online clothing business right now, and this is what you're busy with. So she kept on asking, is this what you really want? Is this what you really want? And then my answer was, I mean, I was just forced to be here. I feel like I'm just forced to be here. Like, even if I want to go into fashion, I feel like it's too late. Like, I have one final year left and I'll be graduating. So, like, what's the point? But then, because I failed, right? It's gonna be, I have to retake everything. So I have to be delayed 1 year. And then, so our dean was saying, what she explained on her end. She said, like, when I used to be on my senior year, like in my senior year in university, and I had one semester, like literally one semester, that's like 4.5 months. 4.5 months left to graduate my university life. She was taking a psychology course. That was her undergrad. She was saying, I was a psychology student. I had one semester left, but I knew in my heart I wanted to be a speech therapist. But if I wanted to be that, it would mean that I have to transfer and start college all over again. And then she said, imagine just 4.5 months getting my psychology diploma, but I decided to transfer to speech therapy, to speech pathology, and start all over again. But here I am, I'm so happy, and like I'm one of the best. She's really, literally, she's the dean. She's one of the best speech therapists in Asia, not just in the country, but in Asia. And she was like, it's because I followed what I really like. And so that was like, she told me, like, don't be scared to follow what you really want to do just because you only have 1 year left to graduate from this course. And, it was really that conversation that really made me change my mind. So secretly, I transferred, like behind my family's back. I transferred to another campus, which is the main campus of the University of the Philippines. So I transferred to UP Diliman, and my course was my dream course ever since I was 11 years old. I knew in my heart this was the course that I really wanted, which was clothing technology. So in 2011, finally I was in clothing technology. And the funny thing was, on our first day of school, this was so funny. So like in pre-med school, you have this med school uniform, like you wear all white scrubs. People would know you're a pre-med student or a med student. So my mom, I still remember this, on the first day of school in clothing technology, I was all dressed up, because you're going to fashion school. So, dressed up, I was so happy that it's like the first day of a new life for me. And I still remember my mom was ironing my pre-med white uniform. And then she saw me, so I went out my room, and then I was all dressed up. I really had this really colorful dress, and then my mom was like, "Oh, you don't need your uniform, because I just ironed your uniform. And then I looked at her and I said, Mom, like I was gonna cry, because like I didn't tell my mom or my dad that I actually transferred because, I'm really scared for my life. And I transferred to, I was like, Mom, I need to tell you something. And the funny thing was, the funny thing, the first thing that my mom told me was this. She looked at me, she shouted at me, and she said, Don't tell me you're pregnant. And I was like, What? Because, I was already like really crying. And then I was like, Wait, what? Because and like I even got mad at her because now I have to defend myself and tell her, what I answered to her. I told her like I literally had a breakup last year, Mom. So I was like, I even had to refresh my memories of my breakup just to defend myself. Like, what do you mean I'm pregnant? What? So, and then she said, okay, if you're not pregnant, then what is it? Why are you crying? And why are you not wearing your uniform? And then I said, Mom, I transferred to another course. So my mom started shouting like, what? What did you do? Blah, blah, blah. What? So, and then she woke up my dad, which was like, oh my God, not my dad. And then my mom was like, Dad, your daughter transferred to fashion school. Your daughter transferred to fashion school. And then my dad woke up, but my dad was really quiet. And then, because my dad is like, at first he will be calm and then he will get mad, So my dad was like, no, refresh me. Tell me what did you do? And I said, because I really wanted to be a fashion designer. I was crying. And I told him, so today is my first day in fashion school. And then my dad was like, what did you take? Fashion design? Blah, blah. And then I said, no, it's clothing technology. I even said, like, it's a fancier course. And then he said, what's clothing technology? And then I said, it's like fashion design, but for smart people. That's what I said, just to defend myself. And then, yeah, I was punished. I was really punished. Because of that, my dad told me that because you made decisions on your own, then you have to pay for your school on your own. So on my first semester, I had to pay for my own school fee. And they didn't give me, my punishment was, they didn't give me an allowance for like 2 weeks, just to punish me because of course they felt that I disrespected them for making this decision by myself and behind their backs. And yeah, so thankfully, Secret Paris was doing really well at that time. So my clothing business was the one that really helped me, put myself to school with my allowance and then all my extracurricular activities and needs that I need to pay for. It was all because of my clothing business. Yeah. So yeah, but then I when people ask me like what's one of the bravest things that you've ever did in your life, I'd always answer this one, like one of the best decisions it was one of the scariest things I've ever did, because my family really got mad at me. And for you to transfer from pre-med to fashion school with like 1 year left, that's a very, very scary decision. But if I did not do that, I really wouldn't be where I am today. Like seriously, like it was like a new life for me, which is why I really named my business PHINIX, because I can really relate to, the death of an old you and then the rebirth of a new you. So, I mean, there's so many layers to that, but like, I feel like that's what really represents me most. Like, I really turned my back on this identity and followed the real me. Yeah, so yeah, there.
How long did it take for your parents to accept this decision?
About a year. Yeah. About a year because during my freshman year, so again, like what I told you, I have to go back to zero, which is why it took me 7 years to graduate university because um, I had to go back to freshman year. And then during my freshman year, like I mentioned a while ago, I'm a very competitive person. So like I made sure I was really good during my first year of coding technology, and thankfully like there were magazines who actually picked up my clothing business then. And then I started the fashion blog, and like Tumblr was a thing before back in 2011. And then I was gaining a lot of readers and international readers, so there were a lot of brand partnerships, which eventually led to magazine features, TV features. And so like I was able to show my parents that, and because I was able to put myself through school, with my clothing business. So I eventually showed not just my parents, but like my whole family who got mad at me, like that there's actually money in fashion as well. Yeah, there.
It's why do you think you are so competitive?
Ah, I I think it's in my nature. The most casual explanation I would say is I don't know if people believe in this, but I highly believe in astrology. But like I'm a Capricorn sun, so Capricorns are the most competitive and most ambitious of all the astrology signs. And then my rising is a Leo, which is very very a Leo wants to be a superstar. So Leos are very competitive as well. So so by nature I feel like I'm competitive in that way, but also because I feel like um I just feel like especially with what happened with my whole family getting mad at me, there's just this side of me that really I have to prove to them that I made the right choice. That nursing is not the answer to everything, or being a doctor is not the answer to having a wealthy, fulfilling life. Like, so I was sort of like, you know what? I have to be quote unquote competitive to prove my doubters wrong. Things like that. Yeah. But also because I'm a Capricorn. Shout out to my fellow Capricorns. Yeah.
And would you? I mean, I do a flash forward, big leap into the future. I mean, I don't know how daily days,
Mm-hmm.
11 p.m. shoes,
Yes. Yes.
superstar,
Oh my God,
like
you did
ended
your
up.
research.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I found almost. I mean, your LinkedIn profile is very
Yeah.
interesting. I had it took me so long to to scroll down. I was on my phone, so I was just like trying to go down as much as possible. Anyway,
Uh-huh.
is that? I mean, so from what I understand, from Almost Famous,
Yes.
Secret
Secret
Paris, and
Paris.
also PHINIX now, would you
Uh-huh.
also say it's because you're Capricorn? I mean, would you also say that everything you do, you succeed? I mean, I feel like no, everything you've been doing, you know, you succeeded in it. Would you? How
Mm.
would you explain that?
Honestly, I'd actually say the opposite. I feel like everything that I did at some point it succeeded, but then in the end, for me, okay, I feel like it failed, which is why I had to move to another business or another business model. But not really failed in a way, but there's a lot of reasons. It, for example, from Almost Famous, um, I discovered the power of selling um, vintage clothes online, which was Secret Paris, and that was my thing ever since this whole sustainable fashion thing happened. I was already wearing vintage clothes, and I was like, okay, I want to stop doing the t-shirt printing, and there's really so much more money in this one, and I really like doing this. And then I did it. It was very successful until it came to the point that the market was very saturated. Like Secret Paris was one of the first brands who did like selling vintage clothes online in Manila before. Like we were one of the pioneer brands. And then almost everybody started copying the business model, so the market became saturated. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna change my business now. So when I transferred to clothing technology, I thought I wanted to be a shoe designer, and so I put up 11:11 p.m. And for those wondering why I named it 11:11 p.m., it's because I like wishing at 11:11 p.m. And PM are my initials, Pamela Mejia.
You
So
said you like washing at 11 p.m.?
wishing.
Oh.
Yeah. Like people
Okay. Yes.
make a
Yeah, yeah,
wish
yeah.
at 11:11 p.m. So
Okay.
people knew that about me. Like she's that girl who likes to wish at 11:11 p.m. So I I named my business 11:11 p.m. and also because my initials were, Pamela Mejia. But then when 11:11 p.m. happened, I also discovered I learned so much from that business because it was very different from Secret Paris. 11:11 p.m. was really like a real fashion business because you had to design your products and then you have to manufacture it and you have to sell it. So, I mean, it was like, it's just a very different one because this time you're actually designing, like, it's very different from t-shirts. T-shirts, everybody wear t-shirts. But when it comes to shoes, you really have to have a particular target market, And back then, I didn't know that this was 11:11 p.m. was really one of my like the businesses that I've learned so much. I didn't know the concept of target market back then. So all the shoes I designed were shoes that I wear. I like to wear. So back then I like wearing 4-inch heels, all these high heels and very, very loud prints. And, I thought everybody wanted that, but apparently, no, not everybody wanted that. So, yeah, I learned the concept of target market, of the importance of branding, like the whole branding, not just like that branding it doesn't equate to having a logo. That was the first time I learned that like it should be the whole look of the brand. And to have that business, I actually had to loan my capital from my aunt. And because the business failed, it took me a hard time paying her back. There's just so many things that I learned, and it was because of 11:11 p.m. and combining it with like in parallel. So I was doing it in parallel with my clothing technology course, right? And all this time I thought all I wanted to be was a fashion designer. But when it finally came down to actually doing it, doing 11:11 p.m., studying clothing technology, wherein you had to, so I literally make clothes every day. And then I realized I don't want to make clothes. So it was very stressful for me. So I was like, I actually had an identity crisis. I was so scared because I was like, why is it like I've loved fashion my whole life and now I'm doing it? I'm making clothes every single day, but it's stressing me out. So what, and then, like what you said about, I even had like Dali days. I attempted to do like an online clothing business with my friend in Singapore. Like all the clothes were manufactured here and then we sell it in Singapore, but that also failed. But the turning point of my career in my clothing technology life came during my senior year. wherein you have to do your individual thesis or dissertation. And this was back in 2014. And I read about this quote unquote social enterprise in Los Angeles. It's a fashion social enterprise. And I'm like, what is a social enterprise? Like, why do they call it the social enterprise? And it was also timely that I got invited to attend this conference in Hong Kong called Make a Difference. And then on the first day, the plenary speaker. So I got invited there because I was a young entrepreneur. Okay, I was like a young fashion entrepreneur. So like I'm like a young change maker, you know. But on our first day, our plenary speaker was this man called John Bird. And John Bird was the founder of a social enterprise in the UK, in London, called The Big Issue. So if you guys aren't familiar with this, The Big Issue is like, it's a magazine that, so The Big Issue, they try to help the homeless people in the UK. So what they do is they sell the magazine for one pound and 50 pence. And then the homeless people would buy that magazine and then they will sell it for £3. So the 1.50 profit is like, you know, that's what they earn. And so, like, you know, the line that I still remember, you know, the line that he said that you, we shouldn't train, we shouldn't give people aid. We should teach them how to trade. That I can still remember that the thing that he said, and that's what social entrepreneurship is about. We do not give out handouts. We actually help them, you know, have their own income and things like that. And I still remember after his talk, I went backstage and I was like, I'm very interested in this whole social enterprise thing, and I wonder if we can apply it in fashion, blah blah blah. And so when I came back from that trip in Hong Kong, and it was time for us to do our thesis topic, I told myself I really want to study about fashion social enterprises. And so I ended up writing my thesis, which is, I'm still proud of it until this day because this really changed my life, this thesis. So my thesis was about the baseline definition of fashion social enterprises in the Philippines. So the problem that I notice is a lot of people claim that their brands are social enterprises. Like, oh, we are a social enterprise. But in the Philippines, there's no certification body or, you know, an organization that actually certifies what a fashion social enterprise is. And so I did a case study on the so-called fashion social enterprises in the Philippines. And then the outcome of my thesis was like an 8-point criteria. So I made like a criteria. My research ended up having a criteria, 8 points of that defines what a fashion social enterprise is. And that research really, 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 really inspired me to create my own fashion social enterprise. And yeah, that was really the motivation to start PHINIX. There.
And I mean, what is, I mean, that, so that, how to frame this question? So you're writing your thesis,
Yeah.
and how, what, I mean, there must be a step before upcycling kimonos and make shoes.
Yes. Yes. And I tell you exactly. Yes. So remember, I was saying a while ago that I really, really want to have a social enterprise of my own. And so the first thing that I did was, because I noticed one of the conclusions, like one of the findings of my research is that I was able to categorize that each social enterprise actually solved a particular social issue, right? So whether it was like a decline in the use of Philippine indigenous fabrics, or like um there's like less number of weavers, there's less promotion of textiles. So there's like different social issues in the fashion industry. So I was like, okay, then what problem do I want to solve? So it really started with, because the thing that I've learned, right, the thing that I've realized when I did my research was all my previous fashion businesses did not have a problem to solve. It was literally just an existing fashion brand that wanted to be part of people's wardrobes. Like we just wanted to dress people really good. That's it. But like, if I wanted to have impact in the fashion industry, what problem do I want to solve? And I always say this in all my pitch, like whenever I do my business pitch. And my eureka moment really was I was cleaning my closet one day and then I realized that there's no proper disposal venue for my old clothes. Like in the Philippines, we don't have a textile recycling center, or we donate it to charities, but like we really don't know where it goes. And it just so happens that one of my classmates in my course was doing a research on the like the ineffectivity, like it's not efficient for us to actually donate our clothes to like the less fortunate, or like let's say to typhoon victims, because usually people donate clothes that they don't use, right? And so if you as a person, like you don't have use for such clothes, why do you think like typhoon victims would use them? Because if you sort through the donation boxes, these you'd see that the clothes are let's say gowns, or like cocktail dresses, formal wear, winter wear, things that people who would receive them would have no use of. And so I was thinking like, okay, we don't have a textile recycling center. Clothing donation is not that good. What else can I do about it? And so remember, I had a brand 11:11 p.m. And so I took some of these dresses that I didn't like anymore. I went to my shoemakers and I told them, "Can you please make a sandal out of my this brown dress? Can you please make sneakers out of my red dress? And can you please make heels out of my blue dress?" And so, true enough, the week after, I've had my samples, and I was like, "This is it. This is the business that I like. I want to turn old clothes into shoes." So that was actually the inspiration and the start of PHINIX. And to tell you the truth, actually, PHINIX was called 1% before. So like,
Mm.
I know it's so weird, but like the brand name of PHINIX was 1%, because it's like I had this idea before that what like being part of the 1%, this whole 1% thing is a rare thing. So it's like a rare thing. So like it's just like our products are rare. And our tagline before, I can even remember the tagline of PHINIX, I mean 1% before, was wear rare footwear. That was our tag.
Mm.
Yeah. But thankfully I changed it to PHINIX. My gosh. So but it took a while, It took like a year before I even changed it to PHINIX. Yeah. So that was really how PHINIX started. It was with my closet.
But like, so the shoemaker, when you gave the dress and stuff to make, he was like, or she was like, yeah, sure. Or,
Yes. But no, I mean, yeah, of course they first found it very weird. But because I was, we were already making shoes for me. So okay, whatever. And it was, it was a simple task. It was just like those were just simple shoe designs anyway. But I must say, like, they were like, "What do you mean we're gonna use your clothes?" You know? Yeah.
And yeah, so you had the first samples, and what was the, like at that stage, what was for you the biggest challenge? Was it to design beautiful shoes? What was it to collect all clothes and understand which clothes to collect? Or was it to understand who would buy it?
I think for me, my number one concern then was the funding, which was, I think, to this day has always been like, it was really the funding because I was so excited already to start it. But then for the shoes to be created, you have to have like at least, well, the shoemakers, they gave me an even lower, like, no, like when you have something manufactured, you have to have a certain number of MOQs, like a certain number of quantity for them to
Mhm.
actually produce it. And usually the shoemakers, they require one design to have 24 pieces at least. And that's too much, if you're just a starting brand, that's too much. So they even lowered it, and it was like 24 pieces for one size. So imagine, like, size 36, 24 pieces, size 37, 24 pieces. And so I asked them, like, please, is it okay if I could have one design for 12 pieces only? And that's already different sizes, you know? And I had to bargain things like that because we don't have budget. I don't have budget. I was still a university student. And like I said, 11 p.m. didn't work out well. So, I had to work my way up because I was literally bootstrapping as well. And so that was I think that was the start of me joining so many business competitions in search
Mm.
of like funding to start PHINIX then. Yeah, but definitely it was the funding that um because to get the old clothes, it was easy for me. I could start with my own closet, and then when I told this to my friends, a lot of them, they were like, "Oh, finally I can do something with my old clothes." Like, they were just finding the right venue to literally donate their clothes. But even if I had all the donated clothes in the world, if I didn't have the money to actually transform them into shoes, then we're not going anywhere. So, yeah, definitely that was one of the first big challenges of PHINIX.
Which year was that?
That was 2014. Going to it was late 2014, going to 2015 already, because now I consider the anniversary of PHINIX as March 2015. Yeah, which is
Because
this
that's,
one. Because
yeah.
that was the month that March 2015 was my first ever national win in a business competition. So I was like, this is it, we're legit, because we finally won. Yeah.
And you won funding as well on that
Actually, I
moment.
didn't. I didn't win any funding from that competition, but like the experience was we had two investors who wanted to invest in us. And when I say us, it's me, myself, and I. And yeah, but so by the way, so because funding was the challenge, I told myself, okay, if we can't go retail, then we have to change the business model. What if we do made to order first? Like, like I should do like customized pieces first, because I mean, custom pieces are there's more money in it, and then from there I can actually save up and get more money. So what I did was I started approaching like brides in my circle, like in my friends who were gonna get married. And then what we did was we turned the wedding dresses of their moms to their bridal shoes. Do you get it? Like they were gonna wear shoes for their weddings, right? So these brides, what we did to create their shoes is we got the wedding gowns of their moms, the ones that their moms used for their weddings before, and then we turned it to the bridal shoes. And some even ordered like
Oh,
to turn it into the shoes of their bridesmaids as well. So we had that reputation of creating custom shoes. Then because I lack funding, it was the only, it's the business model that I can afford. But then because of that, I had something to show to like when I pitched, like, okay, this is like when the judges asked like who are your customers, and I would always say like, oh, right now our business model is made to order because there's no funding yet, but eventually I would like to go to retail, like that. And then so from March 2015, on May 2015, late May, going towards June actually. And this was like my graduation month already in university. I got into an international business competition in Vietnam. There were like 60 startups, and all of us were competing. And
are you speaking about your collab? No, no,
no,
no.
it's different.
Okay.
It's Waisili.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Waisili, and then it's a regional workshop for young entrepreneurs. I mean, this particular workshop was only for young entrepreneurs. The title of the workshop was Power of Entrepreneurship, and then um 60 entrepreneurs from Southeast Asia were invited for 5 days, and then on the fifth day it's a competition. Like everybody will have a 2-minute pitch in front of a judge, like a panel, and then only one winner will take home everything. And the winner was me. So there was no funding, but the sponsor was Microsoft, and then they gave me a brand new phone. And so what I did was when I got home, I sold it on Carousel, and then I used that as my capital for PHINIX. Yes. So yeah, there. And then in the whole 2015 month after my streak on, like, when I won that competition in Vietnam, every month I had a competition abroad, and not everybody had funding. Most of it were like trophies only, but then that was my way to build PHINIX, and like the value of PHINIX, like we won competitions, blah blah blah. Yeah. So, and usually every time I'd compete, if there's no funding, there's always a gadget that I'd win as like a prize. And so I will always sell that to use it as my capital.
And how long did it take you until you
Won
managed?
my mm-hmm.
Yeah, that until you could make your first collection.
It took me a while, my gosh. It took me a really, really long time because I guess there are other factors, but it really took me a while. So that was like 2015, right? And every month from June to December, I was traveling once a month to compete abroad. And then in 2016, I got into the YCD program again, but this time I was in the US to study social entrepreneurship in Arizona State University. And then they also had a competition there in And I was privileged, because I was able to pitch at the White House, and then I won a grant for that as well. But then, but like all these money that I win, or like all these gadgets, and then I transform them into money, and even the small grant that I was given, it still wasn't enough for me to go retail, because it's really expensive to go retail, to be honest. So I still continued with the made to order. And so you could say like the life cycle of PHINIX was just always competing abroad. Um, and I used to always tell this story that PHINIX had this curse that if the competition has no funding, and then the winner, there's no funding, uh, PHINIX usually wins as the champion. So usually I would get a trophy or a gadget, you know. But if the competition has funding and the champion takes all the money, PHINIX would always win first runner up. So we're not the champion, so I still don't get the money. And
Hmm.
so, do you get the difference? Like, if it's just a trophy, PHINIX is the champion. But if the competition has funding and the winner takes all, PHINIX is just first runner up. So, yeah, and then, but to be honest, like, I really enjoyed my time traveling, because, like, I would say, like, in like as normal people, our goal sometimes is, we work to have an income to travel the world, so like that's a normal thing for people. Like, we work to earn money to travel, right? And even if PHINIX wasn't reaching its peak yet, um I was already traveling the world. So I was really thankful for that experience. And it's all for free, because I was competing. So everything was always all expense paid. And I was really building my network. Like, I had so many friends from all over the world, because this was like one of the perks that came with, competing. And then, so I continued doing that, like traveling, competing, and doing this made to order business model until 2018 happened, which is one of my favorite years ever. Wherein finally, we got a big grant. And then PHINIX also started um, getting into like a bigger league of competitions as well, like mostly more, like there's just more recognition to these competitions that we joined. So in 2018, PHINIX won our first big grant, which was from the UN Environment. So we won $20,000, because we were one of the winners of the low carbon lifestyle challenge of UN Environment. And the money that we won here was used to buy equipment, have our retail production, and then to launch in Malaysia. And this was also the year that um, I was sent to Bangkok to compete for Youth Collab Regional, like the Asia Pacific one. And thankfully, PHINIX was one of the champions. And then because I won that, I was also sent to Beijing for the Youth Collab in China, and I also was one of the winners. And then it was also that year that I got into a business accelerator program in Kuala Lumpur. So I lived in Kuala Lumpur for like 4 months, and because of all of that simultaneously happened, I also used the grant to launch our retail products in in Malaysia. So we had pop-up stores in 3 different malls in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and then we started selling retail in the Philippines as well. So it took a while. If you could see, like, That was 2015, early 2015. And then we won in 2018, but we did our full retail launch in early 2019. That was really long. That was a really long time.
Yeah, I wonder, like during this 4 years,
Yeah.
2015 to 2018, 19,
Yeah.
would you redo anything differently?
Wow. That was a deep sigh. Uh, um, I think, I mean, I, I am I am where I am today, and I'm really thankful that, I really believe in perfect timing. But at the same time, like, I feel like this is still my thing now. I have this thing of, I used to be someone like, if I have an idea, I would just start it and be like, it's gonna be, if I had a business idea today, it would be launched next week. But because of all my failures, I feel like that paralyzed me to just, because of my failures. And then I have more knowledge now of what I should be doing to start a business. Now it takes me a while to start working on something, because I have this thing that, oh, things should be perfect. It has to be like this, blah 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 blah. So if there's one thing I wish I could change, is that um I should have just, just do it. These ideas I had in my head before, I shouldn't waited so long to make the conditions perfect. I was like waiting for the right time, right condition, blah blah blah, right product, right everything. That I wasted so much time that it took a long time. So yeah, if I could change one thing, maybe that's it. But to be honest, like, I also believe in perfect timing. So I am where I
Hmm.
am. But I just wish I could remove that trait of mine even today. I still have that with me. Like, just do it, Pamela. Just stop being scared. It's because I know too much already, that it paralyzes me. Unlike before, when you're young and naive and you're like, yes, I can do this. And, that led to the success of my early businesses. Like, I didn't know too much, so I just went with it. But now, with attending all these competitions, and I literally I have my master's in entrepreneurship and innovation. It's like, I have to make everything perfect. And yeah, I feel like that really delayed a lot of things with PHINIX.
I mean, it's interesting, right? Because we could think that the more you know,
Mm-hmm.
you would know what to do.
Yes.
But many times it's the opposite. It's like the more you know, the more you know that you don't know. And the more you know
Yes.
what you need to be doing, but you cannot do it even now. So like,
Yes.
so that's interesting.
It's very ironic, to be honest. Yeah.
So you had this first collection, and yeah, where are you at now with PHINIX?
Okay. So, with our first collection, right, that was like early 2019. And then I started, what happened in 2019 was, first, I got a scholarship to study in Berlin. So, like, I had like a 6-week program of fashion technology in Berlin. So, but then, like, so the retail production was still, we were still selling in Malaysia in parallel to me studying in Berlin. But then I received another life changing scholarship, which was my evening scholarship. So, I've had this dream of studying my master's in my dream school, in my dream course in London. And I finally got my scholarship. And so in 2019, it was like I studied in Berlin for 6 weeks with the fashion technology. So when that scholarship ended, I literally had like a month a month of rest, and then I moved to London. So I also made this hard decision in 2019 because I'm a solo founder, and if I'm not in Manila, this business won't operate. And so I made this decision that if I move to London, I think that I have to pause Phoenix, which is weird, because like this was the year that literally we finally went retail and we're finally out in the stores. And it's not even in Manila, it was in Kuala Lumpur. So we already went international. But then I had to make this hard decision that Phoenix, I have to pause Phoenix, and um, I really have to concentrate with my masters. And it wasn't a easy decision at all because, you know, a lot of my close friends, even my family, they actually got mad at me because they were like, you know, Phoenix is already on its way up, and then you're gonna pause it. And then I told them that I really have to concentrate in London. But I promise I'll maximize everything to make sure that Phoenix will also benefit with me studying in London. And so what I did for 2019 to 2020, all I did was to join competitions, to establish different networks and connections so that I can actually launch Phoenix in London. And in some ways, I got really lucky because um, my break, you would say, my small break in London was last year. Um, oh, sorry, I want to mention also that I think that, I made that decision of pausing it, right? And I think in the end, it was a smart decision in a way because the pandemic happened. I mean, the pandemic, it's a very unfortunate thing, but when the pandemic happened, if I did not pause Phoenix prior to the pandemic, I would lose more money, during the pandemic if it was still operating. Do you get it? Like,
Yeah.
if I didn't pause Phoenix early, I would just be burning money during the pandemic.
Mm.
So, in a way, it became a smart decision to pause it. And what happened actually was in London because I was joining a lot of competitions as well. And then, of course, with my master's in fashion entrepreneurship and innovation. So that was my master's, and I studied at London College of Fashion. I was able to build my network, and then my small break was Phoenix. Got into the final five of the Mayor of London entrepreneur competition. And this was a very competitive competition because imagine 518 startups joined, and Phoenix was in the final five. Can you imagine that? Like, and I was literally the only Filipino, non-British in that final
Mm.
five. So that was a really big thing. And um, if I did so again, the curse of Phoenix, which was if there is a grant, which was £20,000, and the winner takes all, Phoenix was the first runner up. But then, miraculously, something happened with the winner. That Phoenix, what happened was they had to, okay, something bad happened that they had to retract their decision. And so Phoenix got a part of the grant because I was the first runner up, you know. And so now, what I also realized, by the way, during my time in London was, um, this was also because of the effect of the pandemic, is that I wanted to, there are new products that I wanted to innovate because I learned so much. And now we're leading towards homeware now. So homeware and more of like as a lifestyle brand more and furnitures. I'm
Mm.
really, really excited to share the new products of PHINIX actually because I felt like I felt like PHINIX had its own PHINIX, you know, like our time in London, the pandemic literally burned us to ashes. And now, you know, I'm just so ready to create all these new products for PHINIX. And so, like, right now, I'm back in Manila. I just came home last month. And right now, I'm trying to develop the new products for the homeware line and our new product called Phoenix Bricks. Just so exciting because we're turning textile waste into building materials and construction bricks. And hopefully, if all things go well, I'll be back in London by June and July because, like I said, I won a grant, and the grant actually we need to have our output by summer of this year in London. And so yeah, right now that's what I'm busy with, which is developing and prototyping the new products that I've researched and been planning since I was in London. Yeah, so it's really the like I said, the rebirth of Phoenix for me as well.
Mm.
Yeah.
And like, I really want to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
So no, because yeah, no, I think we spoke a lot about the past and the present, and I would love to know, knowing that how like the trajectory of Phoenix now. How do you see? I mean, how do you see yourself in let's say 2030? Because we love the SDGs.
Yeah.
So where how do you see yourself in 2030, and how do you see Phoenix in 2030 also?
Hmm. My career goal has always been I really, really want to be. Oh my gosh, is it okay to say this out loud? I'm scared
Yes.
I might jinx it. Okay, I'll just say it out loud so I can claim it. And then I will look back on this podcast episode in 2030 and say I made it. But really, one of my biggest career goals is to be one of um, the leading, you could say, like the leading experts and thought leaders when it comes to fashion social entrepreneurship. Like when you say fashion social entrepreneurship, the first person you'd think of is Pamela Mejia. Like that's my
Mm.
goal. Like I'm talking about in Asia Pacific, not just in my country, but like Asia Pacific and even in the UK. Like I just want to be one of those thought leaders when it comes to fashion social entrepreneurship. So I really want to be an expert in this field. I really want to I really want to master this this whole craft of fashion social entrepreneurship. No, that's really my biggest career goal. And in line with that, I really want to make an impact that I challenge myself that in this lifetime I would really like to train and empower at least 222,000 aspiring fashion social entrepreneurs. That's my goal. I literally wrote that down, like in my lifetime I should be able to train that many entrepreneurs who are into fashion social entrepreneurship in my life.
Mm.
And but of course in 2030, let's just make it like the 10,000 or maybe 22,000. Let's take it one decade at a time.
Yeah.
20,000 first. Because right now under my belt I had like 61 fashion graduate. I've never mentioned this in the podcast, but I also have another startup if you guys are listening. Fibers. So what we do, Fiber stands for Fashion Inclusive Businesses for the Environment, Reformation, and Sustainability. And we train fashion social entrepreneurs. So right now I already have 61 graduates in three different, we have three hubs. There's Fibers Philippines, Fibers Malaysia, and Fibers Thailand. And hopefully my goal in 2030 is really to complete the Southeast Asian countries and to even expand in the UK already. But for PHINIX, this is my OG baby, like I've been working on PHINIX for it's literally like my 6th anniversary this year with this baby, and really my goal is in 2030, my goal with PHINIX has always been like I really wanted to be a household name, like meaning like because now we're shifting towards a lifestyle brand. um I wanted to be part of like people's home, whether it's in your kitchen or in your living room. I don't want it to just be a fashion brand. I want it to be a lifestyle brand where people actually aspire to have a PHINIX furniture in their house, or like a PHINIX kitchenware. Like I want it to be a household. um it's something you mention in your house, or like it's a brand that people are really familiar with, that they actually connect to as a sustainable brand in itself, or if not that, I also want us to be um a full textile recycling center, because in my head, I always have this vision of um this big warehouse, and you have all these textile recycling machines. That's my dream. I just really want to recycle textile waste. Really, that's just my dream. So that's my dream for PHINIX. So hopefully by 2030, some of the goals that I've mentioned, hopefully, if I haven't achieved them by that time, at least 88% of it, hopefully. Yeah.
You always say very funny numbers.
I'm a Capricorn. Just kidding.
That's
Just being realistic with my goals as well. Yeah.
like let's say out of 100, 100
Yeah.
is how you just described yourself. Like when we think about textile waste or fashion social entrepreneurs, the first name that comes to our mind is Pamela Mejia.
Yeah.
So this is 100 out of 100. How would you place
Right.
yourself today out of 100?
I think I'd definitely go with like 44%, like that. Maybe 40%. Yeah. I think I'm in that level. I mean, people already associate me, but like um I guess I place this really high standard on myself that I know in my heart I still have a long way to go. Like, I may be on my 6th year with PHINIX, but I really feel like I'm just still starting, you know? So I'd place myself at 40. But because I'm competitive, just kidding. But yeah, 40%.
And yeah, you mentioned it a bit, but what's missing for the rest?
Of like
For the
60%.
60%, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I just I guess one of the things that would give me real confidence is that when when PHINIX starts earning with like the amount of money that like the profit that I really wanted to earn, and when we finally have more community partners that there's just I feel like the indicators would be definitely in terms of like the revenues and income and profit, but at the same time, like when we finally have the full capacity to actually recycle receive and recycle textile waste, because right now I've stopped accepting textile waste because um, there's no storage space and funding to recycle them all. At the same time, we've only partnered with two communities right now, and I want to partner with many more communities in terms of our production. Just I feel like the 60%, a big chunk of it would be dependent on the success of PHINIX, because me being my career goal of me being an expert would be a byproduct of it. But at the same time, like what I told you a while ago, one of my career goals is to train as many entrepreneurs as I could as well. And um, that would take a lot of time to reach that amount of entrepreneurs. So until then, it wouldn't be 100%. So yeah, there's a long way to go, but I'm not giving up. Like what I said, I'm only starting. There.
Do you have a message for whether it's fashion social entrepreneurs who might be listening, or people who know fashion social entrepreneurs?
Yes.
In Asia.
Yes. Oh, in Asia. Okay. Yes. Well, I always say this, that I really believe that I'm obsessed, you would say. Maybe I'm obsessed with, social entrepreneurship. I just really find it so interesting and fascinating that I just really believe that when you start a business, might as well go for the triple bottom line. I always say that, like, don't just go for profit. Make sure you have positive impact for the people and for the planet. And then, so that's my first point. Like, if you're gonna build a business, might as well build it with impact. And second is, entrepreneurship is really hard. Like, if you just listen to the whole episode of this podcast, the journey to where I am, and I don't even consider myself a successful person, but like, it's really, really difficult. Like, entrepreneurship is not for everybody. And so when you decide to become an entrepreneur yourself, you always have, like, start with your why. And every day, this why of yours, like why you started this business, why are you doing this would be your main motivation, especially on your hard days. So know your why do you want to be an entrepreneur? Why are you starting this startup? Why are you doing this startup? You should always know your why, or else it won't make sense to do this. And then my third thing is, timing is everything. Like, one of the biggest lessons that I've learned is that there's just really power in perfect timing. Like, you could have the best product, the best team, or even the funding, but if it's not yet your time to break through, it's not going to happen. Even with my, for example, in the competitions that I've joined, my heart would really, really break if I don't win in the certain competition, only to find out that literally the month after the next competition, I would be the winner. Or like, I failed this scholarship in 2018, but then in 2019, all these scholarships started coming in. And then I would look back and say, oh, I failed that because I had to win other competitions. And, there's just timing is so powerful, and you just have to put your trust in that as well. If things don't go your way, just always tell yourself there's power in right timing. So those are my 3 points. Is that fine?
And yeah. and, and all the fashion entrepreneurs, they can contact you, right?
Yes.
For fibers.
Yes. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to promote this. But yes, I would like to invite all our like aspiring and current fashion social entrepreneurs, especially in Southeast Asia. But don't worry if you're not from Southeast Asia. It's okay because we've had graduates from the UK, from Paris, from China, and from like London. So you can just follow us at Fibers. So it's like on Instagram and on Facebook. It's like at Fibers Collective. So you can contact us there, or you can just email us at Pamela at fiberscollective.com. Yes, and we would like to, get to know you, partner with you, network with you, because you have a really good network of fashion social entrepreneurs in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, so take this opportunity to partner with Pamela, the the person that everyone think about when we think about textile waste. Don't miss this opportunity.
Yeah.
And yeah, also would love if you could share as well. I know it has been, seeing what you shared for Youth Scholar Mongolia or previously for the Climate Dialogue, which has been so impactful for young people, especially when we don't realize it. But any tips, advice, anything that you'd like to share with just citizens who'd like to address the textile waste issue, or what can they do to have better fashion lifestyle?
Yes. Yeah, like what you said, I've been sharing this, but start with your wardrobe, with your closet, literally with your, go to your closet right now. And then I think there's power in, I have to say this also, like there's power in knowing the clothes that you have so that you make wiser choices. And like I said, I always use this tip, like for your clothes, wear your clothes at least 40 to 50 times before throwing. Actually, throwing is not the word. Before donating them, make sure you maximize your clothing. And prior to that, make sure you buy quality clothing, so that you're actually encouraged to wear them a lot of times. And another practical tip would be to wash your clothes. Like make sure your washing machine, like when you wash your clothes, it's fully loaded, so that the clothes will have less friction. Therefore, there will be less microfibers in the water and less pollution. And the third is support local brands, especially sustainable fashion brands and fashion social enterprises, like PHINIX, because not only do you help the planet, but you do make an impact towards the artisans and the makers who made your product. There. Those are my tips.
Yay. No, but I think that's interesting because, it's what you said, when you open your wardrobe and you had this epiphany. I think buying clothes has been, no, but we're just bombarded with fast fashion and stuff like this, and we don't question anymore what we're buying. I've seen, in some communities, in some countries, in some groups of people, it's more and more, it's good. It's more and more trendy to I think double think. Well, it's not a word, but think about what you're,
Yes.
I've seen for example in France now, sustainable fashion has been so trendy, which is good. And I think it makes people ask the right questions on, okay, do I need these clothes? And it comes to what you said, like knowing what you have, because you might buy something that you don't need or that you have already. And just reducing the amount of clothes that you have and amount of clothes that is hopefully can reduce the amount of clothes that is produced, not to waste too much resources, water, raw materials, etc. So yeah, I think it's good to think about it. So thank you for all the cool advice, for all the responsible citizens out there. Um, I I want to conclude with two questions that I always ask.
Okay.
The first one is, I mean, I feel like I know the answer already, but maybe when I ask the question like this, maybe something else might come out.
Yeah.
But yeah, how do you want people to know you for and remember you for?
Like I said a while ago, I just really want to be like what you said. I just really want to be, when you say fashion social entrepreneurship slash sustainable fashion or textile waste, the first person you think of is me, because I want to be remembered as one of those people who really persevered in finding solutions to this problem. That's really how I want people to, how we like, that's really the career branding and personal branding that I'd really like to have. That, I spent my life finding solutions for textile waste and to help people scale their fashion social enterprises. That's how I really want to be remembered. And that's what I want to do for the rest of my life.
And how do you want people to remember you as a person, like your personality?
Okay. I just, at the end of the day, I just aim to be remembered as someone who is genuinely kind and very funny. Like, I always believe that if we meet another person, we should always leave a positive impact on them. And on my end, I always want to extend my genuine kindness, but at the same time, I also want you to have a good time with me. So, yeah, for the rest of my life as well, I just like to be genuinely kind, but also very funny to other people.
Actually, no, I noticed now that you were funny. I mean, I just know you from panel, and so I mean,
Yeah.
not to say that you are not funny during a panel, but like,
Yeah.
like you just have all these random jokes while you are sharing your story. It's so funny.
Thank you. Yay. See? Just kidding.
um, yeah. And yeah, how would you describe yourself in 3 hashtags?
3 hashtags. Okay, wait, who? Can I like should I be using like adjectives, like one word, or
Any.
okay?
I know some people, they put whole sentences in their hashtag.
Okay, I hope. Okay, hashtag competitive. Hashtag Capricorn girl.
God.
And hashtag the superstar. That's really me. There.
Which is also your Instagram handle.
Yeah. By the way, guys, please follow me at the superstar. And just to share this, I'll take this opportunity as well. I will be releasing a YouTube channel soon, and it's gonna be called The Superstar. Yeah, it's gonna be like a documentation of my journey as an entrepreneur in building my 2 fashion social enterprises. Yeah, and I'm so excited. Yeah, so it's gonna be called The Superstar. Yeah.
In English or in Tagalog?
In English, yes.
Okay.
In English.
When will you release it?
Okay, so actually, this project has been delayed for the last 2 years. But I finally gave myself a deadline, and we'll see. But I think I'm going to release my first episode on March 10.
So like
Of
you will
like next week.
Yeah.
Episode
yeah.
1. Yeah.
So yeah, so it might be released when this podcast is released. So I will put the link.
Oh my gosh! Yes, please. Yes.
And what did I want to ask? Oh yeah, so you like, it's a channel where like you record yourself, or you do like
No, so like I've been carrying a vlogging camera for the last 2 years. So mainly I've been just documenting my journey in different ways, like in business competitions, at home, with my friends, when I'm traveling during my master's in London. And so I documented myself, and then now I'm putting it into different episodes with the theme. But basically, my target market is really aspiring fashion social entrepreneurs, or entrepreneurs in general, who just want to see how I actually, try to build PHINIX in fibers, or just, people who just want to see what it's like to, build a business, all the failures. I just don't want to show all the happy things, I really literally I document myself crying when I feel something, because I really want to normalize failure when it comes to entrepreneurship as well. So yeah, but like I said a while ago, it's like it's going to be very informative, but with me, I really want to make things fun, so it's also a funny vlog. So it's like informative, educational, but also fun. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, everyone, follow Superstar on Instagram, find Pamela Mejia on LinkedIn.
Yes, please.
Facebook, PHINIX on Instagram.
Yes, please.
Follow the upcoming YouTube channel and pay attention to your wardrobe.
Yes.
Cool. No, I think, it's been 2 hours.
Yes, I know.
It's time to go to sleep. I think you might have missed 11 p.m. because of me. Or maybe you did a wish secretly.
Yes, I know. Just kidding. Yeah.
But no, thank you so much. It was really, really fun. I think one of the funniest episodes. I mean, just your energy, your laugh, and all the funny jokes. And yeah, I mean, for me personally, super happy to know you a bit better. I mean, a lot better, actually.
Yes, I know.
And yeah, like I really love the story from the Almost Famous shirt line. Mm-hmm. I think you should share that more.
I know.
I mean, it's really, I really liked it. I mean, it's really, I really love it. I could have done the whole episode on Almost Famous, but we had to move on. But I think it was super interesting.
Yes.
But thank you so much, Pam. See you around for another panel. And good night.
Yes, I know. Thank you so much, Sersi. Thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be in your podcast.
Congrats for listening until the end of this episode. Of course, to best support Lifeline, you can share this episode to 2 of your friends and subscribe to the next episodes on any platform. See you next time.